Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me once again for Get Your Money Right with Yvonne. I'm Yvonne. How's it going? Listen, as we like to do, we want to start these sessions off by asking you, how are you doing? How are you faring? How's life in general going for you? And we want to ask these questions because we're all so good about when somebody asks us how we're doing. What's the first thing you say? Oh, yeah, I'm great, I'm fine, blah, blah, blah. But you know you're lying, aren't you? And it's important that we acknowledge our feelings, okay? It's super important that we do that. We're all guilty of the lie, but let's just be truthful with ourselves. And I was reading something not too long ago, and I'm going to throw this out there for you. So, what is the first thing you think of when I say, what doesn't kill you? How do you finish that sentence? I'm going to give you a second just to think about it. What doesn't kill you? Did you say makes you stronger? We've all heard that old adage, right? So let me ask you this. What if I were to tell you that is one big old fat lie? Okay, what kills you will make you stronger? Maybe we should be listening to ourselves, our bodies, our minds, our spirit, and say, okay, I'm getting a message, okay? I need to listen to it. How do I go about making some adjustments in my own life? Because, every now and again, when you power through something, that's fine. We all do it. We all may have to do it. But when you are continually, that is your go-to, you power through it. What do you think's going to happen to you after shoving down all that hurt, all that, anger, all that feeling like you have no other choice? What's that going to do to you at some point? It is going to weigh heavy on you, okay? It's going to make you be the person you don't want to be. At some time, at some point, all that's going to come popping through in ways you hadn't anticipated. And so I'm hoping one of the reasons that you are here with Get Your Money Right with me is that you're recognizing you can't just throw the covers over your head and act like you're going to have enough money at retirement when you've not made a plan. See, that is so very important. Make a plan. And don't compare yourself to the Joneses, okay? There is no way that we can all have the same amount of money. Just, don't do it. It'll drive you nuts. So don't even go that route. Stop it. I was reading another story on kind of this same vein where this one young woman, okay, let me just out myself. I was reading a Dear Abby or Ann Landers or one of those advice columns. And one young woman said that she has a very dear friend in her circle who, whenever everybody is invited out to go do something, she immediately goes online to wherever they're going and tells how much everything is going to be, which, just so you know, I do the exact same thing. I want to plan how I'm going to spend my money and make sure I'm not going over budget. So the woman who said, she's tired of her friend always saying these kinds of things, I read that and I thought to myself, okay, this is really someone who wants to do whatever she wants and spend whatever she doesn't have. And, we can all choose to be whatever we are, but I'm so happy that her friend has drawn that line and says, I want to spend time with all of you folks, but I have to watch my dollars. And that should be all if not most of us, if not all of us, I should say, then most of us ought to be thinking this way. You need to prepare yourself. You know, when we go, we can still go out, we can have a great time with our friends, and we can also be budget conscious. No, because I've pretty much picked out when I'm going to go out with my friends, picked out what I'm going to get. So I know how much it's going to be and I know how much to tip. I've got it ready. I've got it ready in cash. Because I have to tell you, because when I go out someplace and I pay my bill in cash and then I hand them the tip separately, and they look at me and they go, "Thank you. This is wonderful." I know exactly what they were thinking because they don't have to count it or be accountable to it anyplace else. Cash is king, and I'm ready for it whenever I go out. And for me, okay, I'm not going to speak for everybody else, but for me, it is very important that I know that I am prepared, and I'm not going to feel badly for looking out for my best interest. You know, I'm not going to feel badly about that. My friends know me, they love me, and nobody says squat to me about it because they know why I'm doing it. And I'm just trying to protect myself, protect my present, protect my future. Those are important to me. So are my friendships and my relationships. They can all work hand in hand. Just be careful. That's all I'm going to say about that. A couple of things before we get into our lesson is that how are you doing with those leftovers? You know, we touched on it last time with things being as expensive as they are. I'm going to stop for just a second. Leftovers, we're going to get back to that. But in a few weeks, it'll be Halloween. And I always look, okay, where can I get a good deal for the candy? And I've for years set my limit between 25 and 30 bucks. That's it. I live in an area where the houses are kind of spread out a little bit. And if you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck, the kids really are going to go down, you know, half a mile away from here where the houses are more dense, you know, closer together so they can go from house to house to house to get that candy. So if they did come here, we had full size candy bars. And I would get a box from, you know, one of the big box stores. You get 36 of them. And like I said, I look for 25 to 30 bucks. 30 was my absolute max. Because, you know, I'm giving free candy away. I'm not going to spend all my money giving other people's kids candy. So this year I was looking and I gasped. Okay, this is why. Because those full-size candy bars that I was giving out, this year, instead of 30 being the max, they are $55 plus. And no, sorry. I suppose what I may do is look at those mini size candy bars, but I really didn't want all that laying around here because I don't want to eat it. I just don't. So then I was looking at chips or individually packaged cookies. And my husband says, "Don't be that house." I bust out laughing. He says, "If you're too broke to pay for those full-size candy bars, just turn off the light. Don't do it." And I did. I just fell out laughing because would I be that house? You know, giving my crackers or my cookie packet thingies and having them strewn in the lawn because people want candy. Okay, I get it. So I may have to rethink it. We will just see. But let's get back to leftovers. How's that going for you? Because I had some, with this particular recipe, and any sort of beef is just fine, ground beef, whatever. We happen to have some steak left over, and we weren't going to eat it as a meal or anything like that, but I sliced it thinly and go, okay, I went online and I Googled it and I said, give me an easy beef stroganoff recipe. And I got a great one where it was 2 cans of cream of mushroom soup. I needed, well, of course, the noodles. I needed some sour cream. And I got a couple of other things because I like the tang in the beef stroganoff. So then I put in some Worcestershire sauce. It was fantastic, people. Oh, yeah, and I threw in some fresh mushrooms. So buying the supplies I did not have, because I had most of those things here at home, it cost me an extra $7 for 4 meals. And so there's that, and I've with some leftover chicken, I decided, oh, I want Mexican. It was a super easy recipe that included cheese, 2 tablespoons of chili seasoning, and I'm trying to think, was there something else? Oh, salsa, which I buy a big old jar of it at Costco. It is so delicious. And it's so big that we can't eat it, but I freeze it. I'll put it in other smaller containers and freeze it so that I can just pull it out and thaw it when I need it. And that was, what did it cost me? Not that much. Can't remember. But anyway, it was pretty cheap. Things that you can do to stretch your leftover meat. I know that the president was hopeful that during his administration, prices would go down for people for their food. No, mine are just going up, and I'm guessing yours are too. So here's what I'm thinking: utilize what you have. You don't have to make fresh all the time. Just make use of what you already have. Just my thoughts, just kind of sending that out there to you. And I think each one of these, I might share some sort of a recipe that I've made. Yeah, just because I'm all about easy. I kind of sort of like to cook a little bit. My sisters love it. Me, it's more you need to eat to function, and I just want different things. And so I think each time I'll share something with you that I have made, and you take it however you want to. Okay? So, let's go to money. Okay, so right now I have the book Money Matters for Teens Workbook. And these 4 books that I've mentioned to you before that I picked up, yeah, they're kids' books. We don't care, do we? We can manage to learn something from this too. So part of our homework, if you will, was to write down your expenses. You want to put down what you make at the top, just a plain old piece of paper. At the top, what you make, what you spent. And look at that and see if there are any ways for you to shave some cost off. There's always some way. I'm finding ways all the time, and I do it especially with things rising every month. So you may need to look at this on a monthly basis until you get yourself to the point where whatever you're doing will last a while. Just a thought, right? So, how to make money with money. I love this because we've talked about this briefly before when I was talking about the magic, if you will, of compounding interest. So most investments, most savings, you're earning interest on a monthly basis. And if you leave that money alone, that money plus the interest, you now have a new balance. And each month that's going to go up and up and up. Okay? That is how compounding interest works. So anybody who has that retirement account, and you do now all have a retirement account, right? Or looking into it, or we're going to have one of these sessions where you're like, yes, I finally did it. Please, whatever you do, make sure you do it. And the other part of that, don't use that account as an emergency savings. Create your own emergency savings. So at the top of the sheet, where you have what you bring home in your paycheck, the very first line, don't even start with your debts. Start with how much you are putting away per pay period for an emergency savings account. So you've got that paycheck, which should already include your retirement savings account. So whatever is left, the first line on the sheet you're creating, how much you're saving. Then go into your debts and kind of go from that. And we'll talk more about debts on another show, but I just wanted to the whole business of interest on your savings and how that compounds and how that does for you. It does nothing but help you. So, all those things, think about it. And, we got a lot of time where we're going to be talking about different things during each one of these sessions. Now, I try to keep them between 10-15 minutes. Sometimes they'll go a little bit long, and I hope you'll bear with me that you can stick around for them. And if you are enjoying these sessions, which I hope you are, because this is all about me sharing with you, hopefully you sharing with me, because when people write to me or give me a thumbs up or something like that, if there's something there that I can use, I want to incorporate it in these sessions. So just keep that in mind. And whatever you do, take care of yourself, and that whole business of what doesn't kill you make you stronger. Big old fat lie. Remember that. Take care of yourself. If it's not selfish to take care of yourself, self-care is what we should all be leaning into, because if I'm the best self I can be the best self for you, for my friends, for my family, for work. You've got to take care of you. So just keep that in mind, okay? And with that, we are going to wrap up. If you are enjoying these sessions, make sure, and you want to become a part of this community, we would love to have you. So where it says subscribe, just make sure to do that. It's free. I will never come to you asking you for money. No, this is just all about us sharing and learning together. Okay, so subscribe if you'd like to. Share these sessions with other people. Just email it to a friend, family, whatever. We would just love to have everybody. So if you'd like to, subscribe. Okay, and with that, I'm going to wrap up today's session of Get Your Money Right with Yvonne. I'm Yvonne, and until next time, okay, you take care. Bye-bye.